Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
In the world of creation, we had the two extremes, except in the case of the Creator and Mitra, where we could never bring the functionality of the soul within the functionality of physicality. We had the physicality hidden within the soul, or soul within the physicality, or in conjunction of the two, one would never had the understanding of the totality, where we could transit but exist in both directions. With the new cycle, this is what Einstein said: when you turn one atom, the other atom changes. This new dimension will blow that field which commonly exists between all the cells of the universe into that position, which means all the created things, as a gift from the Creator in a way, become able to transmute between the two dimensions. There's a reason for this, and it's taken a long time for it to be done, and it has reached its pinnacle, and it will be completed. It's already in the process of being completed. Was to take from the essence of the soul of every created things of the time, beginning of time, an essence of the creation of the soul, or the center, and create a new creature which carries all the essence of the created in the new soul, which can with it go from the soul of the Creator to the soul of physicality of Mitra. This is what the whole knowledge is. The Creator is the universe, and Mitra the dimension of physicality and its behavior towards the dimension of physicality. And with a new system, every creature in the universe will have the understanding of the capability to transmute between the two. This has a lot of implication for all races in the universe, because now they all become the same. In the coming time, we will see even change in the position of galaxies, position of universes. Many systems will move due to the changes which has been brought. Man doesn't have that knowledge as such to monitor, but we'll have the knowledge to see, we'll have the time to see that with the new fields, as we call it, a lot of things will move in the right position to keep that ability to change between the two. That you don't need to kill to keep the physicality going, you don't need to steal. And the soul does not need to be engaged or to escape, to be out on its own, to be able to confirm its existence. And this this process will complete very soon. That the whole of universal community will be able to have the benefit of the two, both in the dimension of energy or matter, which never existed. When we released the soul, we had to get rid of the physicality. You call it death. When we brought the soul, you had to give it the physicality, and you go through the dimension of the birth, and then you have the whole commotion of bringing the two. With a new system, both soul and the soul of physicality work together in the existence of dimension. We expect a massive change in the physical characteristics of human race in the coming century, because we change into the emotion of the physicality. The way, as I said many times, but many never understood, Indians and Pakistanis were the same, till one chose to take different kind of energy in the other one, and we see change of the feature. Now, with the balance between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of man, many of us will change feature, without a shadow of a doubt. Man will change the faces of anger, man will change the faces of hate, man will change the face of warmongering, because we get satisfied in the field of it. And this is part of what will be and what has already started, and the completion of will be the birth of Mitra. Physical completion of birth of Mitra in a physical dimension, not in myths. And then we have the soul of the Creator, which the two will complete the cycle. And then, as I said very recently to one of my listeners, then we'll see if Adam will eat from the apple of love and giving it. And then we'll see how humanity will change. And the whole creation will change. We are at the verge of that change. Much, much closer than anybody could think of, not only a human race.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the 436th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 9th, 2022. This is the broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today in these weekly Knowledge Seekers Workshop series. And as usual, in the last 435 Knowledge Seekers Workshops, we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to fly today?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Knowledge Journey. Yes, we are ready to fly. We are ready to fly beyond imagination. As many of you joined us yesterday in a broadcast of the people who went through the flight simulation. Usually, organizations, when organize these kind of excursions or tests, they do one day and then they see what might happen, and then they do another flight test, maybe in 6 months or some years down the line. We have developed a fully comprehensive system. And with that in hand, Keshe Foundation will continue on a weekly basis flight test. We have another session of 10 people, this time totally German, as we're trying to load up the system with what we call European and Aryan, what we call memory bank and a Wikipedia of the information. They'll be with us tomorrow. And then on Monday and Tuesday, more people will go through the same system. Tuesday will be only a morning session, not an afternoon session. And then from the following week on, we'll test only Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This allows our team to upgrade, allows to run the productions and everything else, to produce new systems to come in. Because when we run the systems, we are all there. If anything needs to be adjusted, anything needs to be what we call set up, takes a lot of time and energy. And more or less 2 days a week flight test is more than enough for the Keshe Foundation for the next 2-3 months. We think that we can cover what we are looking for. The experience of 6th of June and the 7th of June on both the American side of the time zone and the European time zone gave us a huge insight. The insight is very simple. Man has achieved a dimension of knowledge that with it can dictate, choose, and decide. This became very, very clear in our testing. In the process of testing, the number of people who came into the what we call the flight zone was very simple. They are in their own dreams. They were in their own dimensions and directions, I'll call it. And as we said, the responsibility of the new life, new technology, is to work between the physicality and the soul, that the two interact. And this became very clear in the process of the teaching of and the work of last days of testing. People are in a dimension of the soul, and with the voice of a man to the physical dimension, we ask them to fly, and instantaneously they take that position. They want to fly or they don't want to fly. They want to go where we ask them or we request them to go. We asked the first people to go to the moon, and we heard in the testimonial of yesterday, it's instantaneous, and they're on the moon. We ask them to fly. We don't create condition, and they go where they want to go. One swims the oceans, and one goes somewhere else, and one goes to the sun. And we test to see what we promise, connection between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality. And this has given us a new, what we call, incentive to go further in so many ways. In the test coming up, we know the souls which are there, and we know the souls if they can be there. We request a specific, what we call, missions, specific things to be done. One of them may be what we call, what we promised from the beginning. Manifestation of Christ, blessed his name. We'll ask some of the people who go through the system to pay a visit to the soul of Christ, blessed his name. And if they can do it, if they had the connection of life, they will come back and tell us how he looked and what he had to say about his time. Then we go in the different dimensions. As I wrote in the communications we have with NASA Corporation in the United States, we have offered them two options. Provide us with the exact position of the Apollo landing. The way our knowledge seekers on Tuesday paid a visit to the moon, we request them to pay a visit to the site. Is there such a thing on the moon? Is there systems left behind decades ago by the Americans? Then we show you how we'll change this. We ask them to bring parts of what they see left over at the site possible back with them. We'll ask the travelers to come back with pieces, evidence, and confirmation. If they cannot bring it back, or they say they got it but they couldn't bring it back, we have to adjust our systems. Do not forget, we introduce you the material enhancement unit. This technology exists inside the new flight system, which means what is gathered as the energy of physicality can be converted. Maybe we have to fine-tune it. Then, as I have requested again from the head of NASA mission to Mars 2030, to provide us with the location of the Mars systems, which they sent it to Mars and they work for a while. If they have any pieces they think it needs repaired, we can be in position of and see if we can repair. But people who go to the site, these are not what we call talks. What we've seen, what we observed in the systems of past days, confirm to us this is a reality, is for us to fine-tune, and deliver. We'll bring you in groups where we think from Russia, from the United States, for the head of Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, to meet to the soul of people in the room to discuss the solution to 5+1. Will solve the problems within the confines of the flight system. We have to try. We have the knowledge and we have the responsibility with what we have developed to deliver. Last night I was talking to a very close person to me, one of my cousins, born same time, brought up the same way, and he's a Sufi. He's a very devoted Sufi. And he said, Mehran, what have you done? I do this through energy. I said, yes, I know you've done this for years. But it's you. Now it's a system. Now we can travel. He said, I could never travel, but I can transfer energies to people who are sick. And I know what I do with them. He said, you've gone beyond the knowledge. And as a Sufi, I accept you have achieved, with what I see in the videos of yesterday, a break in the knowledge of man. We have to understand, these are the realities we're going to face. We have to understand that the game has changed. As I said, this is just the first step. As you are what I call the naughty children, playful, many of you will come with different desires without telling us, and you go in there and see if you can achieve your desire. And as I said to the first person who went through the system, a simple thing. He went through the first system on his own. And then we brought in the second person, which is from Netherlands. When he came out, I said to him, what was your wish? What was your desire? He said, I wanted to gain the knowledge of the universe. That's why I came. That was my desire, that I know everything that I can do. I said, you failed before you go in. The system is not there for you to take. The system is there for you to give. And if you truly give, the intention of giving, you truly find empty cup to fill in. You expect it to go in as a man and come out as an Einstein and a philosopher of the knowledge of the universe. This will not happen. You went to steal. We heard from a guy in Netherlands and his sister, the same proposition, the same, but he said, I was there to give, and he received enormous amount. We heard from different things. You hear the voices, we analyze what we call the information. We analyze what it means in our system. Each person, what it goes, what is done, what is added to the system, what is taken from the system. In this process, maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime in the coming days, we'll have a message from Christ, blessed is the name for you all as it listens. We believe it, we accept it, because we, in a way, commission it. None of you knows who that person will be. And then we repeat it again. We bring the facilities of the present science to manifest the true face of Christ, blessed is his name. Then we see how much mysticism and light sits within the Vatican. Then it's for the Christians to decide. It will be a test of time. It will be a test of time for us to travel the span of the universe. It will be the test of time for us to understand new technologies, to understand new insights in the working of the universe. It will be an insight for us to bring changes on the dimension of the life of this planet. As I said before, you all waited and worked with the madcaps and the paint pens and the pen pads, and while you were children busy with your toys, we finished the game. We finished the process of understanding. We built systems that not 1 or 2, 15 people have taken what we call the flight. 10 people tomorrow, maybe 11, maybe 12. And then the same numbers next week. But it's your responsibility to be here to bring the knowledge within the races of the man, that it completes the encyclopedia of what we call the knowledge of this planet. If you have a beautiful, obedient, lovable cat, or a dog, or you have a beautiful fish, ask permission from our team As long as they're tiny, we don't want the big ones, we can't fit them in our system, bring them in with you. Bring the most beautiful plants with the most beautiful flowers. Bring the plants with the most beautiful scents. Bring with you the most beautiful stone you see, and bring with you the images of the love of mankind, and enter the systems. And let us, in so many ways, imprint the knowledge of this planet that dogs and cats and fishes cannot go to Wikipedia to put their own information. The information put on them about them is by the man and imagination of the man. Let them deliver the fingerprint. Bring with you the love of mankind and leave the hates behind. And bring with you what you see as the most beautiful thing in your life. And let's embed this into the system that it gets registered in the encyclopedia of the plasma of this planet. As we build more and more systems, due to the way we have set them up, they will transfer information from one to another. And we build what we call music of the most beautiful things around this planet. We work with every, what we call, creed and nation and race, except Belgians. This race is excluded from the dominion of the kingdom of the God. But what they did and what they do to the children of the man. In so many ways, we want to bring balance to the society, that we take a perfect, what we call, mixture of the information and knowledge of the man into the universe. We bring a totality of what we call collection of the information that does not allow abuse of any process in the universe. When you come to the system, come with love. When you come to the system, come with sincerity. And when you come to the system, don't come with lies to yourself, within yourself. I tell the system, I want this, but I really want something else. The minute you thought it is registered in the soul, then the soul will tell you, you come out with nothing. People like you, once you left the space flight, for the coming weeks and months, send us the report. We don't chase you. We don't come and tell you what you did, what happened. Send us a report. What was the feeling a week later, a day later? What was the emotion? What is your connection? What do you feel added to? What do you think it changed in you? Or it has changed the environment around you to facilitate your wish. Try to understand the new technology. Try to understand it's not there for to take, it's for there to give. That by giving, you find solutions for the others. Not if I give, I'll receive. When you go in to give to receive, you have already failed. If you go in to be the best in everything you can imagine, as a ballerina to a scientist, you have failed. Be there to elevate others and other things, and not for you to elevate yourself, that you become more arrogant and more what they call egoistic in the dimension of the failures of the man of the past. It'll be interesting to see how many of you will come out, go home, and find a change. and find a change in the way that you never thought would be achievable. Making friendship with a father you never spoke, making contact and bringing what you thought it was someone you hated more to become the one you love more. Achieving knowledge that you could never imagine achievable. Entering domain and dominions that gives you a new dimension of life. Becoming traveler of the universe and not just going to see the sight on this planet. Today you dream of Niagara Falls or jungles of Africa. Those of you who have connected to this system, you start dreaming, you start realizing that you go to new places you never knew. These are the new sites, these are the new places in the universe, which now is open to man. When you see the travelers of the universe, respect them, love them, adore them, and invite them back. If one of you or some of you while you're in the system or after come in and bring the passengers of the universe with you, we accept, we greet you. Nobody will call you a lunatic because this was the purpose of these systems. When you travel the span of the new dimensions, try to understand. Try to be part of and not separate. In a way, in one of the talks of yesterday, become that butterfly. Become that with you flying, others enjoy your beauty. And in that process, we bring the change. The new enhancement units for flights, which now are under test, will bring new dimensions. Gradually, we'll explain more and more. Gradually, we extend to the knowledge more and more. We change the enhancement unit to the room which now the enhancement units are in, which means you can walk in as collectively as you like, as a mixture of races as you like, and within the space of the room, you will all travel to all directions and dimensions, or you like to go camping together on the moon. Don't bring food, because some of your food will not be edible on the planet Moon. Maybe the condition is different and you cannot eat, but you absorb energies. Bring things with you and see if you can carry with you. Pack your luggage, call your brother and say, I'm coming to see you today. I'll be in New York at night. See, by going through the system with your suitcase, you will go to New York at night. And if you do, come back. When you return, tell us how it was. Did you meet him? Did you eat with him? Can he confirm your existence and your dominion at that point? It's you who has to manifest yourself, not our system. Our system is a cage which frees man from the cage of his own soul of physicality. The rest is yours. Someone wants to see the daughters. Someone wants to see brother. Someone wants to see someone from the past they want to meet again. This is all a possibility, a reality which now exists. And more people going through the system, more and more of you find out how easily it will become. In the next day or two, the second operational system will come in. The two work together in tandem. And then we see how the situation and combination of you as passengers of the craft will change. As you heard with one of the participants yesterday, she became the captain. And she decided where to go. And she says, it took them, they went to where and it wasn't good. She decided to go somewhere else. And then she decided to go to the sun. Now you understand when I told you the captains of the future give their souls to the captain to protect, and they protect it and bring the joy with their soul. And we've seen it for the first time. In the first day, whatever we said has come out of the memory bank of the people who took the flight. Come into the flight system with the love of Creator and walk out of the system becoming part of the Creator. And then see where the mankind goes. It's sure. Now it's on the table. Those of you who go to moon, bring us back a rock. Those of you who go to some other places, bring back with you friends. And then let them take us to show us their dominion, where they came from. When you meet someone in a cafe, you don't know how they live and where they live till they invite you home. And then you know what home is. It will be the same with many of you in the new systems. The lady said, there were dogs. And then later on she says, I think they were my family. You bring a family home. Invite them to join you back. Our systems and operation in this has set up to accommodate the full spectrum of the soul of the universe. No harm will come to them, but we ask them to stay within our system, that we have control of the time and the space. The computer game is over. It has become a reality game, and it's not a show. It is introducing mankind to universal community in a very soft way. In a way, when you land somewhere accidentally, you first take a few steps. You smell the environment, you look what is there, trees, stones, the environment. This is what we are doing with you at the moment in the next few weeks. Taking mankind to a new environment. You see the water, tip your toe in, you see the water with acid. If I was a man, would have been able to stay this, then you understand you have taken a new dimension. In manifestation, you become climatized to the environment. We heard from one of our people in Germany that half octopus and half human. And in the other, she still tells you the same, but this time she's on Earth and she's a mermaid. Again, the same. Attachment to the physicality of the man is very important. I'm prepared to compromise half, not all of it. Maybe the next time I'll become the fish, but today I still want to be a man. We heard from our other people how they say physicality, the thoughts wanted to take over and are dismissed. This is how it will be. The soul will dismiss the work of the physicality. The soul is the traveler. It's got its freedom. It does not need to wait for you to sleep. It is with you when you're awake. As I've said, a new game for mankind has started. A new lifestyle has started. A new process of interaction. And in a way, we have let loose the man out of the village. Let's see how village you behave and see how serene you behave as the passengers of the universe. You yearn for this for thousands of years. Now I have given it to you as a blood of Peter, the gift. Let's see what that gift brings you. If you're after vision to the dimension of the sight of the soul, you shall not be blind. And if with the structure of the body of the man, you are a cancer to the society of the universe, you have to sort that out by yourself. As you have seen, mankind has been kept out due to his behavior, due to his conduct in the past times of the creation. Join us tomorrow. And as you're doing, some of you, join us on Saturday. I spoke to Rick. We don't need to do it 9 o'clock Monday morning. Tomorrow is Saturday. If you would like to go and do a lot of things with the family, we'll choose a time. Maybe 6 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock. In the afternoon, we do a small session, 1 hour, 2 hours, not much. Because then we do the same next week for those who come through the system. Those we find interesting. And then we build up. Come with your mother language and walk out with the language of the universe. I have delivered to you what I promised in totality. A health system, a feeding system, a flight system, an energy system to the soul of the man, and everything else is all in it. When you walk in, you see the magnets. When you walk in, you see the conduct of the plasma. As you walk in, you see the what we call operation of the pain pattern, pain band, and everything else which we have. Then hidden within all the technologies which we have developed in integration with each other, we have delivered the totality. Now it's for our team to learn more and for them to deliver more. And I think those of you who went through the system in the last few days will have a different experience when you come the next time. The expectation will gone. Now you come into reality. But we would like some of you to tell us if you made an appointment with your family in different places to meet them and have lunch with them. See if you can go there for lunch. And we'll talk to them after you come back. Did they enjoy the lunch? These are important to us because it gives a dimension for our technicians and people who develop the technology to understand what we have to increase, what we have to change, what we have to adopt in the systems, that we don't bring the plate without the food, or we bring a food without the plate while we're coming back, because part of the system was not adjusted to what it is. You will learn, some of you, as you're through the system, that you can tell us, I'm bringing somebody with me, can you accommodate us? As your soul speaks through the word of physicality, we respond. If you are ready to accept, what is the condition? Who are you bringing back with you? What are you bringing back with you? Which part of the system we want you to place them or ask them to come in, that we see, we respect their, what we call, energy facilities. We don't bring a Jewish or a Muslim and give them a pig. They come in. We have to know how we accommodate. In a way, you have to tell us what you have accepted through your soul, and your soul we are responsible for. We have to accommodate your wishes in our system. We communicate with you through your dimension of physicality, and your soul will bring to the point of understanding. If you notice, a lot of you, we put 2 chairs in the system, and you thought it's for the 2 passengers, you go with your wife. It's the same. You bring a friend from space, there is a seat for him to be. He's not just man anymore. We facilitate for them to be part of us. And if you're in the room and they manifest, do not run out of the room and do not go and hug them and kiss them. They are adjusted to the person who has brought them. They are not adjusted to you outside that dimension of the fields inside the system. These are the facts that you will face in the coming time as the technology completes. We just tell you what to expect and what are the possibilities. And how many of you will remember when you see flying with these doors and running around having a party? When you go to a party, you always invite them back for a party at your place. But tell us before you come. And don't bring too many. We don't have such a big place. And on the other hand, make sure we know how you come. We work through your soul, but at the same time, the soul is extended beyond the physicality, but we still have access to your physicality, to information. In a way, I welcome you to the reality of the space travel. And in a way, you're in for a big surprise. I hope you enjoy it. It's taken me thousands of years to bring you to this point, and this is just what I call first draft of the system. In the near future, you will not see any physical damage. There'll be a start, behaving as systems. There'll be lights in different positions of the room to accommodate everyone as they move around. At the moment the reactors are fixed to a position, the upcoming systems, reactors are floating, accommodates to every emotion, like different magnets. We put a system on some of you who've been there before, or you come in the future, behind you. It's like a noise-making magnetic field. When you give to it, when you are giving to the universal, what I call community, you find out the noise become very sharp. We know if you are giving. When you're in the process of taking and you want to run, you bring the system to heavy run. The screeching that it does not want to be part of it. The noises made in the system tells us if you're taking or giving, and of who we have with us, and how the soul is behaving. And when you laugh, when you're joyful, we see it from the system again. It's important for us now to translate the language of the system to a working system for us as a team, that the new systems coming in will carry the emotion of the facilitation of the system for the passengers too. Which means now we are increasing the emotional side of the system. You'll go and sit in different part of the system and you'll have different emotions. We will try this in the coming time. You will sit in different part of the room and you get different emotions. You are trying this tomorrow with one person. We have asked them to come in and we go through the emotions of what we call work of the system. How they will have different emotions in different parts of the structure. It'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting for them to explain to you about how they. I have fulfilled my promise to you. You got your flight system and everything else which goes with it. It's for you to take that flight. And so many ways is for you to confirm to us you have become a traveler of the universe. And please, remember, don't come in to take. We go to a break because I think it's a lot, and hopefully we'll have maybe some of the people who went through the test with us yesterday on Tuesday, and see if they want to add to part of this process. We have Anglin, as head of the Keshe Foundation, in the list. If you could bring her in, please. Galib is with us. Would you promote Galib and learn from his experience? After we come back, and we'll see where we land, and we'll see how we take this step to the next journey. And from him, and maybe the others who are here, who went through the test on Tuesday, how they feel since they left and what has brought to them since that time. would you like to take a break? And we go to the next system, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We'll have a short break here and return with the 436th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 9th, 2022. Will be a second to continue here. My mouse has just suddenly stopped working. Bear with me a second.
The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a space technology that allows us to work with the fields of the universe, creating a wide range of plasma field interactions and conditions. It allows the body to process itself from any physical or emotional imbalance. Once this balanced condition is achieved, the soul and emotion of the body can follow to find their balance and elevate the whole of the man. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit Technology of the Future through Advanced Plasma Knowledge. The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, welcome back to the 436 Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 9th, 2022. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin the next part of the workshop?
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for coming back, and we'll see what we can do. As we see, more or less the second person who went through the flight system with his sister, and we saw his, what we call it, thoughts and explanation of what he went through and what he did is with us now. And Mr. Kadik, can you tell us if you're with us at the moment? Can you open your microphone?
Yes.
Yes, good morning.
Best of morning to you and to all of the knowledge seekers as well. Thank you.
Can you speak a bit louder? We hardly can hear
Yes.
you.
Yeah, best of morning to you too.
You're a bit too far from your microphone.
Still? Okay.
Maybe not the, maybe it's a different microphone that's selected or something there.
You have chosen a different microphone.
It's a little bit better.
Yes, it's better now.
Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you got back home safe and sound with your sister.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr.
It was late, but yeah.
Good one, late. Can you tell us yourself about your experience?
The best way I can put it is getting back to what's home for everyone is different, but that was, as I said yesterday, one of my intentions to get back home. And if I were to summarize it, not to keep people too long again, is in a very beautiful way, I got home again, or the illusion of not being at home, that faded away, and it was one of the, I think, the most beautiful experience that I had in my life.
You went to moon in your talk yesterday because the balance of it was not recorded.
Yes.
We have to get a lip reader to see what you said and text it there in the part which is missing. You said in the part which you're talking that you went to moon. Can you explain that to us, how it came and how you felt and what you saw and what was there?
Yes. When you go to the moon...
Because don't forget, sorry, we promised on the 6th of June we'll take you to the moon. So you were the first passenger.
We went to the moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, explain
on
to
the
us,
6th of
please.
June, we went to the moon because it was still the 6th of June. I think that's what you meant.
Yeah.
When you go to the moon,
explain to us how you went through the beginning, how you set up and you went through, please, to the whole process.
So we went to preparation of the 4 seats and the first 3 seats, and as we became more in balance with the fields of all of the fields of the universe, and we got again able to be completely and be more in peace after the 4th system. At one point, that's when you are in the big system. I cannot. That's when everything happens for me. That's when the most of the magic happened, or not magic. Sorry, when most of the beauty showed itself to me, and I was ready to accept what was there. And at one point, after my sister came in, and together with my sister, we were sharing our love and our intention of peace. And as the beautiful other people also came in, we became a team. And every time a new person came in, there is a slight, like a wiggling of the fields for me. It's hard to pinpoint, but because many things were already happening during the flight, but especially when the people came in and you realized that there was finally a balance with 4 people, we were, I think, even though we were not aware of it, or I wasn't, we were working together because the system, the soul of the system is one. Please correct me if that, but I think the soul of the system is one, and we were there. And at one point we were reminded of the mission by you, and this is when actually the moment you decide to be, that is when it is. And for me, it first felt, the first feeling that I had was I felt abandoned.
Where? Can you explain that? What do you mean by that?
At the moon, the moment you said...
How did you feel moving from your position you were in the room to the position on the moon?
Yes.
Did you feel anything? Was it instantaneous? Because I asked you all, would you like to go to the moon? Would you like to take a
Yes.
flight to the moon? And was that instantaneous, that moment you decided to go?
That's a very good one. First of all, when you asked me, I was I felt agreeableness in myself, and when I had the intention, that is when it happened. So when you were talking, I was already positive about it, and when I had the intention, that is when I felt the shift in, maybe I can say it like the MAGRAPH balance with me and the system. So because one of the things that happens is during the seats, you feel like a soft blanket around you, around your around your skin. And the moment that I had the intention, this feeling of what was around me that was touching my skin, that changed, and the emotion became abandonment. But that was just very, very shortly, because I thought I was trying to assess why I felt abandoned, or who felt abandoned, or did I feel abandoned, or was it the moon, or was it someone from the team? And I just said, whoever or whichever soul it is, we are present together and we love you unconditionally. And that's when that feeling faded, and that's also when the vision of the moon became clearer for me. The vision of the moon was very sandy. It was not white. It was more beige and red and orange. It wasn't like a desert, but more um, like the Old West, like a lot of sand, but also with rocks. I didn't really try to walk with my feet on it yet, but what did happen was that the wind and the sand was, as I said, that blanket of feeling around my skin that I had in the system. It was interacting with that on my shown.
You mean on your shoes?
No, above my shoes, like the down part of
Leg.
my legs. Yeah.
Were you wearing a clothing, or was it just you as you?
No clothing. It as I said, my feeling was already on the. I felt the change on the blanket around my skin, and I didn't really look at my clothing.
So you could have not been wearing something because you could feel the sand on the skin.
Yes.
How long did it take you to get there? You say instant in your interview.
Because as I said, you first brought it up to us. That is when I was agreeing with it, but I didn't set the intention yet. And when I wanted it, I realized directly the change of MAGRAPH environment, I should say that way.
In a way, you're in command. You're in charge if you want to do it or not.
Yeah, definitely. But that's also when I do feel difference, when every time like then when there are other people, you do recognize it's not that they decide for you. Maybe we should say there is a more other feelings, more other MAGRAPH positions, more other fields that are also there. And you, maybe it's like in the background, you get some of the whiffs of their fields. I don't know if it's correct, but for me, it was different when I was alone in the room. It was more a clear experience. It was still a clear experience when other people were there. It's just, there is more to it. As I said also in my interview, the inside of my brain felt bigger. I explained to my parents yesterday, it's like when you close your eyes, you see something black, or not black, but whatever you see, that which you see, it became bigger. I closed my eyes and I saw more. It was a bigger canvas. It became 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times expanded. And yeah.
If I send you back to the moon, as now we're communicating with NASA, you become the first Armstrong of the Keshe Foundation, if you realize that. You have become the first person who has taken that leap to go to the moon. So in a way, you're Armstrong, and we want to have a better understanding. You said you talked to your parents. How did they feel about your experience and your journey?
My mother said that when she hugged me, and when I was getting closer to her and getting away from her, there was a buzz, a magnetic, like I felt the same when some other knowledge seeker, he already, like Barbu, when he stepped to me, there is like a cloud of fuzziness around him, like as if it's not like you're getting shocked or electrocuted, but it's like a vibrating something that's on your skin, and you feel it from also inside of me. I felt it when I got closer to him. And it's funny because one of my friends who didn't go in, but he was also close to us after we came out, he said the same thing about me and my sister. He said, without even touching us, I feel a fuzzing, a warmth, a vibration from you. And I felt that from Barbu, and my mother said it also to me. And she said, it's the same with your sister, but a different with you. And that's one of the things. And if I go a bit more emotional, my parents, for them, for my mom, it was for a while a bit, she understood, no, let's say, she accepted what we were understanding, but she was having a hard time to placing it in her knowledge and in her understanding. And as I explained more to her, she gets inspired to understand more of it as well. And because my parents, they follow the path of Muhammad, bless his name, and they know about some spiritual things they come with some Sufis, I should say. For them, some part of the knowledge is easier to grasp, or there's already a reference point in their own understanding. And as they connect the dots and they understand more, they realize more and more what the changes are that are happening and how fundamental the new progress is for the next step of humanity. But of course, they go with their own beautiful speed and their own way of evolving.
How did your sister feel?
My sister, I asked her, my sister felt, I think, as I said, someone asked me after I came out, I make it about me. She said she was also in this beautiful state of bliss. And I think someone asked me, and my sister agreed when we were talking. It was the highest state of bliss that I felt, and I wasn't looking for this. And my sister also said something that everyone has even the smallest idea of what it could be, even though I just realized when you were talking before, and please correct me if but maybe even the expectation of getting satisfied with the experience is that you're receiving something. And maybe even that part of expecting to be satisfied of whatever it is, that is expecting to receive. I don't know, but next time I was thinking, I already was from time to time, but I think the idea of being able to leave everything behind, because I definitely want to go again next time. I definitely want to go again. At the same time, I feel um, obligation to everyone to develop myself in it as well, from wherever I am, whenever I am. So every night and every time and during the day, I start to try to get back into the oneness. As I said, the system works with you. You work as one. And I felt that every time when someone enters, I shouldn't say every time, but at after the experience, during parts of the day, it was like a wave. I always felt like this warm pressure, this warm expansion in my head going on, but at some parts it was stronger. And at a particular moment, I told the other two people that were around me, also my sister, I think at this moment Barbu is going in. And later I asked him, "Is this the time that you went in?" And he said, "Yes, that's the time when I went in," because that was the time that I felt again more in the system. Every time I talk about the system, yesterday when I was talking about the system, even when I think about it, I feel again the pressure in my head and my head getting warm. But it's not that I'm saying this to make anyone worried, but it's
It's just
I'm
you're
well.
connected with the system.
Yes, and I also say this because I try to love. I try to love what happens, and I'm grateful that this is still a thing. There is one little thing that sometimes gives me just a tiny bit of sadness, and that's that I know that this system is perfect, or this system is beyond what I can imagine as beautiful. And in a way, this is like when you go to the system, when I go to Linz, I compare it like when you're on a bike with side wheels. It's easier to bike, but actually you don't need the side wheels to bike. But that's
You can do it on your own.
yeah, you can do it on your own.
What will be interesting, as I said at the beginning of the teaching, as you are our first man on the moon, as I call it, we have asked NASA to allow us, or let us, we can find, I'm sure most of the knowledge seekers have exact pinpoint accuracy where they said the land Apollo. Would you like to come back and test to go and see if it's real?
I'm definitely willing to give everything to make this mission. That definitely.
What we are trying to do is just to take this out of mysticism into a science, into a technology. So in the next few weeks, we try to expand and extend the knowledge, and how we extend the knowledge and how we extend this to the next step. We had somebody going to the Mars. As I said to NASA people, would you like to tell us, or any spare parts for us to take to repair for you? We speak to them, don't laugh, we speak to the NASA at the highest level. We communicate with them at the right on the top. When I tell you the situation is, we speak with a few people in NASA, not just one. And we keep them all informed in so many ways. What will be interesting is how would any of us think or feel, and how would humanity feel if one of the knowledge seekers who decides to go to the moon, we give them the address, if they can get there and confirm the leftover of Apollo. What about if we give you cameras, which if they work in that environment, to bring us pictures back?
I have something. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
If there still is possibility to find leftover of Apollo, since there was earthly metals, I think it will be easier for my earthly hands to bring them to the earthly dimension,
Position.
wouldn't it? Yes.
In a way, yes, because what we say that we can take and come back, you don't go to New York without clothing. You go for a dinner party, you go for a wedding, you take the clothing with you. So that should be a possibility. But we are talking two different gravitational fields, two different environments. And what, as you know, even when you look at this picture on the screen, the left-hand unit is a material enhancement unit, which means we can create materials out of the energy. When you pick up a material with the dimension of your soul of physicality or soul of the man on the moon, you convert it, it becomes part of your environmental magravity system. It's like when we put the plates in the GANS boxes, they're not in the water anymore, they're in the magnetic field of the nano-coated copper plate. So when you come back, is we have this process of what we call material enhancement unit. Would we be able, if you say you pick a hammer up on the moon, when you come back here, we can keep the shape of the hammer? Or would we get the materials of it as a dust? Or while you come back, we create the condition of the place you were, and we ask you to put in a special box, and then we seal it, create that condition that we still get a hammer. These are all need to be done. This is what then technology needs to be developed. But the interesting part for all of us will be is, why are we confining ourselves to man and moon and other planetary system here? We have endeavored to go out beyond Earth to moon, and now we have the facility to go. What about other positions in the universe? What about we choose a star, we choose a planet? We know you can go to the star because one of the participants tells you that she went back to the star and felt peace. But we go beyond this solar system. And as Kedek said, instantaneous. Can I ask you a question? Because you said it in a very simple way. It was instantaneous. How did it feel when you found yourself on the moon so fast?
That's a very... I did not feel very surprised, but I was very quickly accepted the new situation. But there was a very slight shift in my emotional balance, also in my emotions, not just in my MAGRAPH balance of the field, what I already explained. In my emotions, let me try to be as accurate. I felt slight happiness, but or
achievement.
That feeling wasn't that strong, but maybe that's very strongly linked, and I'm not recognizing it yet. But yeah, maybe we could say that, like the slightest form of okay, good. Now let's move on, something like that. As move on, as in let's try to add to this new situation, and let's try to continue.
You said there were other beings with you. Were you aware of who and what?
It was, I should say, because at points I thought maybe it was you, because a few times you were walking in the room, But I then also realized that because the way the other beings looked, they were darker. Like I looked around in my surrounding, and there was like clouds of darkness, but not darkness sounds very weird, but instead of a light that we see when we look at UFOs now, it looked like a dark light, like the opposite. And that's why I thought maybe that's. But that's just the way it looked when I was looking around. But when I focused on it, it became light.
Did you see different lights, or was it all the same?
I only focused on two, and that's when my sister and you were in the room. No, not my sister. Yeah, it was only you two, I think, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
They were, because my sister was in a big system and you were not, that made it a bit for me difficult to distinguish the lights. I think, but I cannot say, oh, I saw your light, but yeah.
It's awareness of something there.
Yeah, there were two distinct like darknesses, and they later turned to light when I focused on them when you two were in the room.
How do you feel now? What's your emotion? What's your feeling?
I feel excited for giving more for the future, and also very honored that I get to speak to you and to all the knowledge seekers here again. I am, especially at the beginning when I started talking, the system, I felt again very presence with the system. But now I feel more as when I got out of the system. But that's a good thing. Like when I got out of the system, I was very happy and I was very beyond ecstatic, but in bliss, and that's opening up, flowering in me as well. And I don't know if I said it in my own testimonial or when I was with my sister, but so the way I see it was, when you do soul travel, when your soul expands, but for different reasons, maybe my soul and physicality were not able to completely move on to the transmutation or transposition, and only my soul at one point. And as I said, slowly, and especially when time got on, I was in the bigger system. I started sometimes smelling a smell, and it wasn't like a perfume that was in the room constantly. It was just a smell that was thrown at me for a second, or and again, I love smells, so maybe because that's the easiest way for the soul of physicality to show itself to me. I don't know. It was the same with what I said to my Sean with the winds and some dusts. Maybe because I wasn't focusing on there at all. I wasn't expecting these things. And at one point I was thinking, because you were saying the noise, it gives us an indication. I was thinking, would it be? And so I started to, I didn't want to experiment, but I started to notice that whenever I was more in what I call the bliss situation, it was more of an equal sound. But I don't want to say too much about this, because I know
did you feel any wind in the room when you were in the system?
So again, same with the wind. It was very not constant, like sometimes just randomly at a random place in my body, but that's like as if someone throws a bubble at me, a bubble of wind.
Because some people who've been in the system, they speak about feeling a wind, physical wind touching them.
Yeah, that's the best way of saying it. It's not you're going through the wind as I have experienced on the earth, and maybe that's for the future, but it's like small instances.
Yeah, but there is nothing dynamic, rotating air fans or anything in the room.
No.
We made sure that there is no, physical motion, movement of matter state. The only thing is when somebody comes in, you feel, or if I go in and out.
Yeah, no, it's not the door. It's not. That's because you notice that wind. It coincides. It's maybe you don't even notice it, but of course, when someone opens the door, the noise of the outside, it grows and then it closes and whatnot. But when I said it's like a bubble of wind at a random place in my body, that was a bit different.
Would you go back to the moon?
Definitely. I was planning to explore all the places that want to be explored and that want to that there is a beautiful position for more peace with the humanity and the souls that are present, but also the moon. And the moon felt beautiful. Especially going together to the moon felt also pretty nice.
Anything else you want to add?
At this point, what comes in me is a question.
Yeah.
It is two things, actually. Two questions. One is, so for example, when you go to a moon and you find, or another planet, and you find a rose or a flower or something that might be a flower to them, and you take it with you, could it be that it becomes a rose here, but it's actually something, it doesn't look at all like a rose there?
It could
Or does
be, because you if it's a living thing, it has to accommodate itself to manifest itself here. This is what I said. It's very interesting with we had this with 2 or 3 people who took that journey, and they went to places and they don't see themselves as human, complete or partially human. We had this, so this explains a lot. But the same as we go, and if we don't want to change, we don't change. It's the same with them.
Yeah.
If you bring a living thing, has a soul, and
Yes.
that soul has to accommodate itself if it wants to manifest here.
If it wants to come, even. I cannot just take it, I believe.
Yeah. The way to do it, as I always say, says that I love to show you the others to appreciate the beauty of you, not grabbing and run. You understand?
Yes.
I mean, okay, I always want to show my beauty, so I'm coming with you, show me to your friends, I'm a flower or whatever. You understand?
Yes.
And it might be totally different thing when he appears here, because he still wants to maintain his, what do you call it, his life, his survival. Huh? It was an interesting process going through with you on Tuesday. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What was the purpose of you moving the controls in different positions and conditions?
The reason was that I tried to give my understanding to the system. And I hoped that maybe if I understand the better the system works, then I can give more of my understanding. And one of the ways that my understanding expanded was, especially with the controls, the way, maybe this is just for me, but if you put more pressure on it, it's actually, if you put more pressure on the controls, the pressure from your head goes a bit away. That's one of the things that happened, especially because I also got reminded of the beautiful teachings of Mojan Andreas, and they are very useful for everyone who wants to. No, I shouldn't say very useful for everyone. They were very useful for me in trying to have more understanding about the flight. About what the body shape looked like in the aura fields or the magnetic gravitational fields beyond the physicality. And I tried to see how we could like expand the understanding of this interaction so that there is more to we can interact better with the system. That was my reason.
Well, because you moved, I've never seen anyone moving these arms in a very systematic way, and people usually sit and hold them on their lap. With you was more or less moving. It's just like a weightlifting. You're positioning in a different position.
Yeah.
And I thought, what does that mean? How did it help you to do it? Or
Yeah,
what did it help you with?
So one of the reasons I chose one of the positions was I wanted to see, because if I stretch my arms as far as possible, that is for my physicality a boundary of interaction. So I wanted to see how it would be in that boundary with the system, interaction with the system. And one of them was I wanted to see if I brought them more together or more apart. Because also I think they were also explaining how every finger was a different, how it's like a different field of maggraph that it belongs to. So I was like, what if I bring it closer to my soul of man seat at my head, or farther away? Or if I hold it from the back, what kind of different interaction would it be? Also, I already know it's within me. If I just stand here in my room, it's different. So I was giving the system all of these knowledge, like trying to give more of the knowledge of my understanding and interactions.
Thank you very much. Is there anything you want to add?
I add endless love to you and everyone else, especially all of the souls, and I'm looking forward to continue to expand the knowledge together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the journey you took. And I hope we'll learn more from you and other knowledge seekers which go through the system.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there any other question that you want to ask Karak of any of the participants?
I was wondering if you could describe a little more about that transition, both before landing on the moon and leaving the moon. How was that? A little more about the emotion or that transition. What was the effect on you, and how did you achieve that transition? Was it instantaneous in the moment, or did it take a few seconds, minutes to go through that actual transition?
So, as I said, let me just try to go step by step again. At the point that I was reminded of the mission, I was already at the deplasmization. Or am I saying deplasmization? Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the matter state in the system.
Yeah, the last one. I was at the last seat going back. So you go up and then you go down, or progressively. And I was at the last step before leaving, and then I got reminded. So I was trying to, at that point, it's maybe good to context to know about me. When you're at the fourth step, so the big system, that's a completely different maggraph positioning that the soul has than at the last system. And at that point, when I was at the last system, I was retrospectively, I understand, more ready to go back to Earth. Because later when I was in the car and I was moving around and we were going for dinner, and I just realized I had to reposition myself in a beautiful way again on planet Earth, and that was different. And it's good that we have this deplasmization system. But so I was already pretty much on ready to be be in balance with Earth. And when this moon mission was reminded, so I was more, this is good to know, I was more in a balance with Earth, and then we got reminded of it. And while Sir Keshe was speaking, I was feeling agreeableness within me. I was like, yes, this is what we came for. Of course, we shouldn't, it would be beautiful to go with everyone, because he made for, like, we go together, you go together. That was the agreeableness. And at the moment he stopped talking, and that's when I wanted to set the intention. The moment I said, I didn't even put it into words with thoughts. I said, it was like, I wanted it. Like the desire started flaming within me, and it was just a spark. It was the first spark of the desire. And then the instant, first of all, what happened was, again, I felt more within the stronger fields, because that's probably because someone else was in the big system. I think at that point it was my sister. She was in the big system. So I explain it as being because we were again connected with each other for the mission. It was.
Did she go to the? Can I ask you? Did she tell you she went? We forgot to ask her. Did she go to the moon?
Yeah, for her she did. She definitely said I went to the moon then, and but after she went to the moon with, I didn't ask her too much about it. I should ask her again. One of the things that she did say was the moon. She felt not alone at all at the moon. She felt very very connected with everyone at the moon. That was very like a beautiful contrast to my experience, because I felt at first instance not that way. Yeah. And something else that she said was she also went further, so she didn't stay too long at the moon. Maybe during our mission she did, but she felt very 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 much a desire to go further and go to Mars and go to Saturn. And
did she make that? We forgot. I don't know, because the recording is blank. She most probably has said it on it.
yes,
On
yeah,
the
she
recording,
did.
but there is no sound in it.
She did.
We gotta get her. We gotta get her and discuss it more and to understand. So you're the first brother and sister on the moon.
Yes.
Rick, has ever a woman been to the moon with NASA operation?
Gee, I don't think so.
So we have the first woman on the moon through the Keshe Foundation process. What will be very interesting? What is very interesting for me, which I think, if you don't mind, Gadek, I come and I explain it because you brought it up yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is, you come from the Islamic world.
Yes.
And in the Islamic world, moon is sacrosanct, is holy, and it's one of the biggest problems of going to the moon for Muslims. How do you feel that you achieved this?
How do I
as a Muslim person with the respect and honor moon is carried within Islamic society?
If I was to explain it with the way that more Muslims would easier connect to my explanation, is that everything happens with the permission of the source. And if I have and we also, if there is a sincere wish and the source accepts this wish, this is your given right. So we had the wish to go. There was no ill intent. We had respect for all the souls, and we were accepted. That's, I think, a way to put it, because the sacredness of the moon is less pronounced within different different.
As well.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah. But that still doesn't take away from that. It's a very valid way of questioning this.
It's not questioning, it's enlightening, and to keep the respect.
Definitely.
Because I come from the same background, and I remember the day when it was announced man has landed on the moon. My immediate family, aunts, great aunts, coming to the house and saying they are trying to mess up with the Islamic world, that they said they went to the moon. There's impossibility. But on the other hand, in a way where you come in and your sister, and it was very respectful to see your sister in the Islamic clothing, in a beautifully dressed, and serenity she carries with her, and you the same. Does the religion counts in this game of traveling the space?
Well, I would say the religion is just a part that came later, because it's about faith and it's about following the path of what all the prophets came to bring to us, was the same message. So it doesn't matter which name, which perspective you name, because as you always remind us, it's about doing good, speaking good, and thinking good. And even with, if I say, for example, an example of our beautiful Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he said, if something happens and if you don't like it, try to change it with your hand. And if you cannot change it with your hand, try to change it with your mouth. And if you cannot change it with your mouth, try to add to the situation with thinking good thoughts about. So I feel that is one of the, what they say, sayings. It's true and true, the same message. And I already believe that and knew that, but just as a reminder for everyone else who, this is the same.
I'm sure. Thank you very much. I'm sure we're going to see more, and we hear more and more people who the moon become not fashionable to fly to very soon, as more and more people do, and we've seen them going. It'll be nice if you ask your sister to make a recording of her thing, because we lost it in the microphone being whatever happened to it. And if you could let us have it, that we can add to the archive.
Yes, I'll do my best to make a beautiful edition.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to see you and your sister. It was a beautiful time to travel with your soul. Are there any other questions from Quebec?
We do have Lynn here as well. Our panelists.
Has she put her hand up? No, the Chinese ones from here. No. Okay. Thank you very much, Kadak. And wish you all the best, and I hope we see you again. Maybe
likewise.
I get a piece of hammer or whatever next time you go to the moon. Whatever the Americans left behind.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions here. Perhaps we could ask.
Yes.
First, Stefania in the Q&A had a question earlier. Can we make a music concert on the moon, or make a party?
Is that Stefania from Italy?
Yes.
What do you expect from Italian food?
Want to go to the moon, have fun. Drink some.
Don't forget to bring your bottle of wine with you.
Yeah.
We don't know. You have to try. You have to wait till we extend the fields into the whole, what we call it, flight room. We had a very interesting experience. We not only, they think it's me, but not only me. Sometimes it's three of us from Keshe Foundation. Some of them one, or sometimes two of us in the room. People don't know who comes and goes. We can say, look, we come to assess, to see what the position is. We have one person continuously in watching that nobody touches anything, nothing goes wrong if any system fails. And in a way, training for the next sessions. And one of us comes and goes quite often, and First time we could feel the fields about 10 centimeters from the system at the beginning of the day. And then in the latter part of the day, we could feel the fields very strong when we came into the building. You feel it, it's just like a whack, hits you with a hammer. And then one of us in the room, because we continuously, people can't hear us, but we whisper to each other, what sees, what we see, what needs to be done. He says, I get these patches of buzzing in my head and it just goes away. And it's like a pressure buzz, magnetic field buzz. And then we listen to the machine, what the machine says, how they react, how they pronounce or show the field strength. From the experience we had in Sanya, testing 2 systems, we have a very, very clear system, very understanding. When we run the systems, hopefully, because we have to complete the system before we, initiate the other one to come in, as it's getting now adjusted and, set to go with the first system. You hear it, you hear a noise of communication. And it's very vocal. You hear the system noise. It's like they're talking to each other. We expect this to happen between those systems. You've got to realize something very, very important in a way, is now we run into 100 reactors in that room. Plus, maybe over 150 reactors in that room. These are special reactors never seen in public. These are not something you ever see. They are not in public. We don't release it. But what is interesting, if you go back to the experience of 129, we had 129 Tesla. Different system. In this system, when we put the 2 systems in, plus the head units, the vision units, we have a massive cosmic plasmatic field. It is not a earthly field. We have no system to measure it, but we feel the forces of it. As it was said, it's like a wind. So in next couple of weeks, in next coming time, we expect to create a massive cosmic field which suits every created things in the universe. I designed it this way from the beginning. In a way, you don't need to come into the machine. We can take the machines out. And we go into the satellite system, as we call it. And you can travel, you come in, maybe 10, 20 of you. All the Italians are renting a bus, we've been told. They're coming in a bus load. And you get in the room together. And we see where you go, how it goes. Bring your wine, bring your, guitar, and see if you can have a party on the moon. This is not out of reach. This is something, technology for it is there. The facility has been made for it. And Stefania tells me Italians are getting a bus to come. Don't forget your wine and cheese. And don't forget your spaghetti. And let's see if we can rock you on the moon. We don't let you to play in the building, but bring whatever noisy instrument you like to rock on the moon. Let's see if we can get you there. Now is not a dream. It is for us to be able to transmute many, many souls at the same time. And I think it can be done. Maybe we get half of you there, the other half will end up on the other side of the moon, the other half go to Jupiter and Mars and come back. You know, Italians can't keep them in one place. German came with a very much serenity, very, German mentality, precise everything. And we have them tomorrow and they have them the days after. We need the noisy Italians, unruly a lot. And let's see how we can accommodate you. And if we can get you there. We have tried now with 4 people Cadec was one of the 4 in there. So it can be done. Now we want to know if we can land you all together in one place on the moon. And please don't bring the whole base of the Apollo with you back. Leave it there. Just bring a small piece if you go there. And leave the American flag behind because they've done a lot of hard work to put it there. Maybe you can put the Italian flag next to it. And when you come, bring the Italian flag. See if you can take your Italian flag to the moon and plant it there as we've been, as is traditional there. There is no limitation, is our technicians which have to create that condition. We see possibility, and when the system was set, when I went into the, what I call flight zone, it's quite possible that many of you will experience the same thing at the same time. Give us a couple of weeks. The room, the system works all the time. Even when we switch off the system still works. You can always have the connections with it. And Italians, please get your wine sorted out and cheese and olives. And let's see if we can take you through that transmutation and transportation.
Well, the cheese might go bad by the time NASA gets there. You might want to wait a little bit for the party because they're planning on sending a woman to the moon in 2024.
We already been in 2022.
Yeah, that's why if you have a party there, NASA's going to be late.
No, but
the cheese will be moldy.
I tease the NASA mission control people because we have a direct line with them, and they literally left their head with us. And the video yesterday shocked them. That the video yesterday went to a number of NASA management team and the rest has caused a big concern with them. And we'll see. I think when we bring back, we can do, if it's possible, if our knowledge reaches that point, a piece of Apollo, if Apollo has been to the moon, and give it to them to analyze it themselves and confirm this is the piece. That'll bring the change in the game. It can be done. As I said, enhancement units, material enhancement units, which we have is part of the structure of the system. So it's possible, quite possible. But you have to tell us when you got it. You can tell us, I've got the hammer in my hand on the moon, because you're physically still partially with us through the dimension of the soul. And then we have to tell you exactly how to behave when you bring it in. It has to be brought in a specific way that manifests itself in a material state. If it comes in any other way, it will burn out. It will be not burn out, it will be dissolved in the fields of the plasmatic fields. As who was it yesterday said, it's like a sugar in the water. You dissolve. We would like to keep the integrity of it, and it would be nice if it says made in USA, and they can confirm its composition. If we be able to do that, it will change the space game. Because at the moment, it's just the talk. I've been there. And now, one of our first steps in next few weeks is to get the Christians to confirm to us if they've seen the Christ. That's one of the most important things for us. And then the next step comes if we can manifest the soul of Christ in the system. We cannot give it physicality, that's for sure. But let him speak. That is 100% possible, not 99%. That's 100% possible. And I promise you that fish tank, the fish tank is made, isn't in Litz. It's a room. If you can ask him to be there till the Pope arrives and see if he accepts his master. These are reality now. The system are fully operational. We have to fine tune. If you are from Middle Eastern, Palestine area descent, you're Armenian, you are Palestinians, old Palestinians, the Jews in the old part, you have to be, we got to, and you're in a condition we can bring you in. We might, through your descendants, see if there was a witness to the crucifixion, to get to see it, the full explanation of it. But bringing the soul of Christ, it should be as easy as ABC. Now we've seen how the system works. You got to understand all the people you've seen on the interviews, even Gadak, it speaks about others being present. Now is for you to ask who the soul of who are you? Or ask from the souls, can you show me the soul of Christ? It's as easy as ABC. And that knowledge is with us. Yes, carry on.
Well, I want to insert the question from Iris here because it's relevant. And she asks, why is the so-called Christ energy important for the whole process, since religions are going to disappear anyway?
Which process? What process? For us, you mean?
I think, yeah, well, like many processes is part of all. But she says you mention Christ very often, and we are messiahs already. So why the religious connotation there?
Yeah, because it closes the views of the soul of the man by Christianity. This most abused system. Many, many people have been enslaved to it. And will bring the soul of the kings. Will bring the soul of rulers who we want to know how they did, why they did. I told you, the man history will be rewritten. Many, many times I've referred to this. We hear it from the history makers. And will bring the whole past of the past to the present through the souls. We are not going back to the future. We're bringing the souls which made that future at that time. We have to train our people as to go through the system, how and where and what, and then we'll get the answers. We'll find answers, we'll find solutions to many, many things. One of my wishes is to bring Tesla back and go through him with him to understanding of the totality of his mind. Tesla did and worked maybe 10% of what he had with him he wanted to do. He had marvelous mindset. Any other question?
Yeah, we've got a hands up.
Let me tell. I have to tell you something. Sometimes I answer you. Why I chose the Christ? Because he's one of the most innocent of all the messengers, compared to what the rest have done. He did not put his hand to kill. He never raised a sword, and that's the reason. And the whole purpose of us in the whole process of the Keshe Foundation and the work we do is to get man away from killing. Christ is the only prophet which did not dirty his hand with murder. He did everything else wrong, but he didn't kill. Moses created bloodbath. We know what Muhammad did with Islamic world and the Iranian nation. We know Buddha, in a way, in a diverse way, in the background, did a lot of other works, which was not public. And we know from the present prophets, or messengers which we run to, this Christ is the only one which never committed the murder crime. And that's why. Any other question you have from Gadek or this topic?
Well, we have Gatwa with he's had a hand up for a while here. Perhaps we can hear from him and see what he has to say.
Thank you very much, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, Dr. Gatwa.
Yeah, thank you very much for what you have brought, all the knowledge, the new science, and it's enormous. It's not even realized yet. But from my brief thinking about what you have brought and what it means to this world and the universe, it's definitely a new era. So we now know of the common era, the Christian era, or whatever they call it, either before or current or common. So since you have changed that completely, perhaps it would be best for you to be the one to name the new era. So what are we going to call the new era? That is question number one.
There is no new era. It's no new era. It's a new cycle in the science. It's a new cycle in understanding the process of creation. Nobody can claim it's new. It's been there from the time of creation. Now we understand it. You know, if you never had orange and somebody gives you the orange first time, it doesn't mean it's just been created, just because you never had it before. There is no new. When you call it a new and you are joining the universal community to be part of, there is nothing new. It's just new to you, but it existed all the time. So it's not a new era, it's just for us. We understand a little bit more of creation. And we haven't even started understanding all of it. Once you start claiming that kind of thing, you become too arrogant, and it's the beginning of the end. We start unraveling the knowledge which already exists for us, because up to now we've seen it, but we never understood it. We were like those who thought the Earth is the center of the universe, and the first guy who said, no, they hung him in Pisa. Now we are at least more open-minded. We don't put them on the what they call it, on the news. Even though a lot of religious leaders would like to see my neck on the news, because it's the end of the job, shop closed. This is the beginning of understanding for us as a human race the knowledge which already exists in the universe. So it's not a new era, it's just that addition to what we know, we had to get to know the magnetic field, we had to get to know the communication, the way it is, it's not shouting over the hills and drumming. Now we can do with telephone satellites, and now we see how we can use the technology to be that point. And in the near future, if you understand the systems and you manage to expand your souls, as many of the people you've seen today or yesterday in the talks, they can connect to the system without being there. So now you have your satellite, you have your, what I call central point. And the more systems we make, the more they connect, we create that umbrella, that physical condition to expand. There's nothing new about it. We just arrived. As you know, it reminds me of the McDonald's in Moscow. when they opened the first McDonald's in Moscow during the communist time. I went 2 or 3 times to get a McDonald's. It was an impossibility unless you paid somebody who stayed in the line for 24 hours, you bought his spot. That was people just hanging around, joining a queue that they could sell a spot to somebody else for a McDonald's. The McDonald's was, you could buy it from any shop, anywhere in any of the major cities around the world, but was new to Moscow. And everybody was queuing up around the block for 24 hours, more or less, to get served. They were serving 1,000 Big Mac an hour, just to get rid of the people. So it's not new, it's the same thing. The knowledge is there. And now we understand it. We understand a small part of it, which I hope will bring us a big dividend in most of it. There, as many of you helped us to set up and donated and loaned us the funds to set up the new factories and the new process for it. Once the funds arrives and we get the things moving, we're not going to do, as I said, the process of building. We're going to build a new structure with a new technology. Not going to clean up CO2. We're not going to find out a cure for something or something else. Why do we have to find a cure for everything when we know by elevation of the soul going to the boundary of the physicality, most of the problems of the man in a physical dimension can be sorted? We've seen it. We don't want to speak about the health application of the flight system, but I speak to the people who come out of the room. I've seen, I've literally heard people who came in, they didn't come in for flight. The lady said, I'm not interested to fly. Where am I going to go? But I was interested in this, in me, and I have achieved what I came here for. Or at least I see the beginning of the opening of the doors. Are we going to find a new GANs for such and such a thing? Or are we going through the elevation of the soul that not cleanses, but energizes the whole body? You create a new condition. Would the conditions you have with the new fields would exist? The sugar is at the bottom of the glass in the cold water. You heat up the water, the sugar disappears. That's all this knowledge is, the strength of the field and acceptance of it. We are all in it. All of you participated to bring this in. And we are all in it, and it's the next step on it. And when we did the flight system last week, we didn't hide and we did something. People going to links, there is something hidden somewhere you can teach the soul. It's on the internet. Is available to all of you. This is what it is, unconditional love, giving without condition. I could make billions out of the systems and technologies. Why? I take nothing with me. But in helping all of us, we participated, especially in the last leg of it. Now, when it comes and receive the funds which are supposed to come in to get us, it'll all go to elevating you for the new science, for the new technology. We are guardians, we are not the owners. And this is the next step. And I hope with all of us and people in China, in Iran, and everything else, we bring this in through. But don't forget, ask yourself a question. If you go into this system and it's getting better, and you start traveling, the first time was exciting, you didn't know what you're doing, but now you know where you're going, what you want to do, would you come back to Earth? I promise you, 90% of the people going through the space travel will never come back. Because they will find peace, they will find what they need, they don't need to worry about the food tomorrow, clothing today, the pain, the illnesses and the rest. It'll be good to come back home, as many of you want to go home, but home will be something to visit and go. I don't have time to stay. It's too hot here. I have to wear winter clothes. I have to wear summer clothes. I have to look for the water, and I have all the problems on top of me. So the process is ongoing, and we're going to a step of evolution in science. And now it's not anymore Microsoft or General Electric or Toyota. It's Keshe Foundation. And it's the totality of us who are doing it. And this is the beauty of the new science. I don't own it. I'm just a messenger that deliver it. And at the same time, I make sure that systems for it to deliver it are there, but you have to educate people to see it. You see, it's when you listen to Kedek, it's you just look at the voice. We look at the different dimensions of it. He says he feels there's somebody coming to the room. He feels the presence. He doesn't need to open his eyes to see, because there are 3 other people, 2 people more than me go in and out of that. He feels the presence. He felt the presence when the first part of the couple came in, and he says he didn't feel balanced. And I can tell you why he didn't balance, because what the character was, who was the person who went in. Everybody in the room who were there and after had the same feeling about the guy. The same emotion. It wasn't just Kadak that he felt something unbalanced. This was the character of the gentleman. And we're watching, we're observing. It's very much like going back to Rick magnet table. We put another magnet in. Everybody adjusts to. Now that magnet is a ball of the soul. Somebody's microphone is open. And this brings a lot of understanding. You just listen to what they say. We analyze, because this gives us indication the souls are sensitive to movement of plasma in the room. And how much of it we can cover with ourselves that we don't interfere when we come and go, and how much of it is when we add a new magnet into the table. That's all it is. And how one soul is a taker. It's amazing how we analyze. The team, the group came, they all know each other. They're all friends. But in that process of friendship, we could map out, I could, because nobody introduced, I could map out who in the group is what. And then I came out and I watched them. I see them in the dimension of the soul and what they say, and I see them in the dimension of when they're out in a live condition. I pass through, but I observe everything. How they stand, how they're isolated, how they're greeted, how everything is, how they try to influence that they are correct and do something the way I want you to say. That's why if you hear Karak and his sister, the first time they talk is when they sit in front of the camera. If you listen to yesterday, it's us to understand, to accommodate, and we are learning. There is no new technology. It's just we understand a little bit of the technology of the Creator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for bringing us that to that stage of new understanding, and for your beautiful answer to my question. Now, I have another question. Yeah. Going through the world news this morning, I didn't see anything about the new flight system or anything about Keshe Foundation, for example.
You will never hear anything about us. You will never hear. You will never hear its impossibilities. Absolute
so that's what
impossibilities.
I wanted to ask. Why do they?
There is a ban by the Fox organization, which more or less controls 80-90% of the world news, on Keshe Foundation. Fox News controls everything. And if they don't want you to do, You don't know. And if they want to fabricate everything we see with the war in Ukraine, they fabricate it and just put that out because this is what they want. And just because people hear that part, they believe in it. Put it this way, we know how the technology works. They cannot control the internet, and we see how many of us are and how many people around the world work or do or have to do with the technology. The most beautiful thing is, in a very short time, the Fox News will be foxing it, because when the souls communicate, who needs internet? Who needs television? Who needs to listen to the news, which is all lies and fakes? As simple as that. And we are in such a beautiful time with the development of technology that, in a way, who cares? Let us bring the technology and spend the energy in going forward. Let's see. We're not looking for confirmation of news. We're looking at confirmation of how much technology we can bring out that brings that change. There is a total ban since 2012 on Keshe Foundation. No news articles, no newspapers, nothing, except if they create a negative and they put it only on the internet because they can't put it on the paper. So, who cares? Did Kadak go the trip? With hundreds of people are coming to go through the trip in the next 6 months, 12 months, would the next step will be what you do? Do you care if it's in the Fox News and you can come from Kenya to Linz and be here for a lunch and go back? Does it make any difference to anyone except you that you can do it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Actually, I don't care if it's in the news or not. But I was just wondering what...
No, we don't care. We don't have anything. We don't care because we have established a new structure and the people who want to be around it. And you will see now that we have put this unit out. We get people coming in and we see regular people coming in and we can do this. You will see the change on the program in the internet, how people will come and how it will change. But we are not there looking for a change. I haven't come here to be famous today and go, I've come to do a total change that will last thousands of years, and man never kills again, man never does what is done after. That's all. Great.
And finally, Mr. Keshe, do you want to tell us in the background what the world or the governments, their reactions, what are they saying? And thank you very much.
We tell you in about 4 to 6 weeks time. There's a lot happening in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then you will see. We heard what they do. We heard what they say. We seen the process, how they are, but it will bring in. Why it'll bring in what the government say is, once we complete the process of bringing you from Kenya to Austria instantaneously, government have to react. Can a man from Kenya come without us knowing? When we fly you from here and you sit in the White House in the Oval Office in front of the president while he's having his lunch, who's this guy here? It becomes like the Queen. You remember a few years ago, somebody out of nowhere appeared in Queen's bedroom and nobody knew that Queen eats out of Tupperware. When they arrested him, they brought him out. He said, I was in the room when she was having breakfast. She eats out of Tupperware. I wonder how many of you will come and say what president was eating in the Oval Office. You don't need permission. And that will be the next step. Then then they will decide what to do with it. At the moment, is people talking. As I said to NASA, show us a hammer. When you bring objects that we can get it confirmed, when you can do things, and we have to complete our systems. Our systems are not complete because it takes time. Our people have to understand. They have to develop systems to make the system. Then it's a different ballgame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you
We
very
look
much.
forward to living in peace.
In
The
peace.
peace that your technology brings is amazing. And we
We'll
look
see.
forward to a peaceful world. Thank you.
You're amazing to see. Thank you very much. Rick, shall we call it a day? We already had a 4-hour session yesterday.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being here. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll see more, we add more, and we'll see how it comes. Please, I repeat, because we've seen it, do not come to the LINs unless you're accepted and you have the time, because the doors are kept locked because of the way we work, and you will not be let in. And some people say, oh, I'll come and camp outside. You can camp outside for 20 years. Go through the booking, get your time, and come. Thank you very much. And hopefully we see you on Saturday with any of the people who want to going through the system, want to make any videos and report anything. Thank you very much, Rick. Thanks for the whole application team in the background. See you most probably Saturday. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. Okay, another wonderful workshop here, the 436 Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 9th, 2022. So our next public workshop, other than the special workshops that may come up in the next day or two here that Mr. Keshe mentioned, and we will announce in the usual places. We do have on Monday coming up the testimonials meeting for people to give their testimonials, and it'd be great perhaps to hear from some of the people, or we can at least show some of the experiences that people have mentioned that have gone through the flight travel system, the space travel system. So that's coming up on Monday, June 13th, coming up. And that starts at, see, that one's at the 8 p.m. Central European time. Okay, I think that is it for today. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in the next public workshop, hopefully in the next day or so here. Okay, I'm going to end with the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit music version, so you can clap and dance your way out of the workshop here, and we'll see you next time around.